Some friends invited us out to dinner recently. We decided on one of those fancy places that doesn't even have numbered combo meal deals that you can supersize or not. I know. It is a wild and crazy life, but someone has to live it. I looked up the location on Facebook to make sure they would be open, peeking at the online menu to get a sense of what we would be in for. I know better than to order some expensive crab cake that will never taste as good as the ones my mom makes. But what in the world is a Wurst or a Jägerspitzel or Schweinsbraten? Aside from butchering, pun intended, the German language with my feeble attempts at pronunciation, I guessed that my husband would end up choosing the Heidelberg steak and a blueberry pancake beer, while I would probably be only brave enough to order a burger, and not even the fancy Belgian waffle burger. Maybe a fruity cider on the side. It didn't seem that there was a band playing that night, but I found a review from a friend who highly recommended a giant pretzel, and that is a word that I can definitely pronounce. One of my best friends from childhood moved back to Holland after living in the States for a few years. In our 20s, before we had families of our own, we each found it easier to make time every few years for a cross-Atlantic visit. I recall once noticing that when Helen ordered my drinks, she had to specify if I wanted bubbly sparkling water or flat water, as it was all bottled. I overheard her order Spa Rout or Spa Blau. At the Van Gogh Museum cafeteria, I was overcome with some sort of American tourist bravado that compelled me to try to order my very own water bottle. So I bravely clutched my tray, and I looked that tired cafeteria lady right in the eye and announced, "Blau." She blinked. No water. Nada. My dear Dutch friend, nearly dying of hysterics, swooped in, and she ordered my Spa Blau. It turns out that the bottles have red and blue labels. Spa is the brand, so ordering Spa Rout gets you the red labeled sparkling water, and ordering Spa Blau gets you the blue labeled bottle. Blau, it means blue. I had just loudly and proudly demanded blue from the cafeteria lady in the middle of an art museum. We get out of an experience that which we are willing to put into an experience. My cursory Dutch, learned on the fly without intent, did not cut it. But I felt well prepared for dinner at that tap house, with all of the details considered before we went. We prepare before vacations, for a job interview, before catching a movie in the theater. We rarely jump into a situation that we have not somewhat vetted, either online or by word of mouth or from something we read. That new recipe? I had to read for about 10 minutes about the chef's childhood affinity for rosemary before she got to the nitty-gritties of the ingredients. Hosting a kiddie party or a 60th birthday celebration, we head straight for Pinterest or wander the aisles of the store to get a sense of how we will host. Social media and Google even let us peek into the lives of friends and acquaintances and those in the news, like politicians or celebrities. Kids rely on YouTube for reviews and tutorials, to learn hacks for a video game or to see what's trending to imitate and record for a TikTok video. As card-carrying Catholics, we've likely picked a mass time and place that we prefer. We carve out the time and we land in the exact same pew weekly, ideally before the first reading starts, and we open our hearts to the hour that is before us. But what if we took the time to plan and prepare even a little bit before we found ourselves in those sun-drenched wooden pews with the sweet tunes of Rain Down or the cantors and organ cueing the beginning of Mass? The SIJ Women of Faith Bible Study Group recently finished the 22-week women's study by Walking with Purpose called Opening Your Heart. We wrestled with the notion posed on those pages of church being a place to go as a consumer versus a place to be the hands of Christ for one another. The author, Lisa Brenninkmeyer, wrote, "When we look at church as a destination, a place that we go, we inadvertently develop the mindset of a consumer." Have you ever found yourself standing at Mass, distracted by the to-do list of the day nagging in your mind? A friend of mine asked me once, rather sheepishly, if I ever get distracted in Mass. Of course I do. We all do. It's human nature. Focus is hard, especially in this digital age, when we are accustomed to instant, constant feedback and content. So how can we get more out of Mass? What if we approached it weekly with the same hunger for details as we approach many of our other day-to-day tasks? We need to prepare for it like we do for nearly anything else. Why is it we're willing to devote so much time to consuming content about our health and happiness and current events, but just show up on Sundays and expect a change of heart? One of the easiest ways is to prayerfully consider the readings before the lector is standing at the anvil. How you do this is up to you. I'll list some resources at the end with the questions. And one of my favorites is a book called Every Sacred Sunday. It's made to be a journal with space for notes and prayer intentions. There are publications like the Magnificat and even Magnificid designed for children, which produce seasonal Mass guides that isolate the readings for you in a format that's small enough that you could tuck in your pocket or put it in your purse. All of the big Catholic publishers offer options to watch or listen or read the weekly readings and some commentary or reflection. There are saints and living spiritual role models who have all posed the same sort of sentiment. If we really and truly understood what was happening at Mass, if we really comprehended the gravity of our Lord making himself available for us to receive in the Eucharist, we would never miss a day or a minute of church. I dare say that we look at devout friends of other faiths or cultures and envy their connection to their place of worship or their devotion to their holy days. But when it comes to our own, sometimes we can avoid the hard stuff. But if not you, then who? If we don't make our own highest Holy Week holy, then who will? This week is chock full of opportunities for you to come closer to Christ. Through rich traditions, readings, ceremonies that are older than the Constitution, and celebrations that reach back centuries in church history. Today we begin with Palm Sunday. Will you join for Tenebrae? That's a service on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock that reminds us of the heavy, dark gravity of Christ's suffering for us, for you. It involves candles being extinguished and ends in the dark. Have you ever attended? Give it a try. Holy Thursday Mass at 7 p.m. is the easiest to add if you have little children. The service includes foot washing, just like they'll see in the pages of their children's Bibles. It begins the Triduum and ends with everyone literally walking out of the church to follow the procession of the Blessed Sacrament and the Eucharist from the church to the Seton Chapel. There will be time for silent adoration at that point, and even a prayer service for those still remaining in the chapel at 10 p.m. Good Friday is the most difficult day to process with our human minds, as we acknowledge Christ's suffering for us, for you, for me. Reconciliation is available from 12 to 2. the teens will produce a powerfully moving living Stations of the Cross at 3 p.m. Then we come back again at 7 p.m. for a service where the cross is venerated, and we have the chance to physically kiss the cross. It's the only day in the church year where Eucharist is not in the church. The red light is extinguished in the sanctuary lamp as we try to connect to the tremendous loss of our Lord on the cross of Calvary. Holy Saturday begins at 9 a.m. morning prayer and even a blessing of your Easter foods at noon. But the highest, holiest, most over-the-top Catholic Mass of the entire church year is the Great Easter Vigil at 8 p.m. Saturday night. It begins outside and processes inside in the dark. Candles are lit and countless Bible stories are told as we grapple with the salvation history that's in our holy book. As we recognize the resurrection of the Lord, the lights are turned on, the statues are unveiled, and the Alleluias are sung. We witness sacraments like confirmation and adults joining the Catholic Church, and we rejoice with our church family. And I can attest from experience that even if your children decide to smell the fire on the candle in their hands, it will be a worthwhile evening. The Easter Bunny will still come before morning. I realize that if you are watching this, I might very well be preaching to the choir. If you already celebrate these beautiful traditions, then what is there for you to do? Perhaps invite your family, share a church post online with the schedule of events, and continue to lead us all by your beautiful, faithful example. We see you. If this is all new to you and you are wild-eyed wondering what it's all about, I encourage you to just give it a try. I don't think you'll ever come to regret giving up an evening for the Lord. If you have commitments and extracurricular activities scheduled, consider if skipping 1 or 2 evenings for Jesus is actually a better use of your time this week. You would respect any other peer who honored his or her cultural and religious traditions. So why not give yourself permission to dive into this week with fresh fervor and renewed commitment? The Eucharist emboldens us to carry Christ throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year. We have a huge responsibility. Yes, it is a lot. Yes, it's more than Christmas. It's what makes us Christian. It's one special and intense week. Our kids are watching. The world is watching, almost daring us to fail at times. Are you ready to dive deeper? If we do not honor our own Catholic traditions, who will? If we can prepare for literally anything else, like a dinner out, a show in the theater, a recipe, or even political banter, can we make room to grow our faith in the same way? Beyond Holy Week, we have the chance every Sunday to be the church. Our little parish is vibrant with ministries and opportunities to serve God in a way that honors the beauty of the heart of our religious beliefs. Maybe on the drive to Sunday Mass, you press play on the app that reads the Gospel. After Mass, ask those in the car what stood out from the service. Was it a song, or reading, or a point made in the homily? Ask those in your church circles what ministry you all might pursue, weekly or monthly. I promise the fruits of your intentional interactions with those sitting side by side you as you soak in the Gospels will yield good results. We have to make ourselves willing and able to receive the Word. Think of what we might miss when we just pursue the Lord 1 hour a week. My husband did end up getting that blueberry beer at the tap house that night, and one of my kids learned years ago that smelling the candle fire is not advisable. The Easter Vigil began as an unfamiliar service to us a few years ago, but now it's just what we do. If not you, then who? So how do we get more out of Mass? We have to give a little more. The more you put into an experience, the more rewarding and meaningful it will be. You are needed. You are welcome. There is always room in the pews for you.